If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
If you want news and rumors that appeal, welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel. I'm your host, the Innkeeper, and this is our live call and talk show all about the Wheel of Time. And this may be the last time I do this. I point at stuff at the bottom. I don't really like it. It's just that I'm trying to keep what I started doing in season 3 happening. So it is still Wheel of Time season 3. It's right at the end, right at the finale. And of course, we are back tonight with two wonderful gentlemen and an Innkeeper. So without further ado, you are here to talk all about the VFX from Wheel of Time Season 3, especially a lot of stuff you saw in the finale. So just recognize there's going to be obvious, like, full season series spoilers discussed tonight. We will establish spoilers for the books here shortly. Without further ado, let me welcome to the Dusty Wheel Brian Shows, Andy Scrase, and my fellow Innkeeper. Welcome all. Thank you for being here. You're supposed to do this. I don't know if you know, the second time here, you're supposed to give jazz hands. Jazz hands. It's jazz hands. Okay, there we go.
It's like 1 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm with you in body, if not in spirit.
Excellent.
Yeah,
excellent.
So I apologize for the yawns that come up as well.
That's okay. We won't judge you. We'll try to put like screens in front of the so people don't see all the yawning happening.
If
you need to yawn, just like just tell us to put an image up. Like show the Waygates or something like that. Okay, I mean, last time you were here, we kind of dug into, like, what is it you do? That's not what this is for. We want to see what you did, if that makes sense. Like, we want to jump into some of the kind of, like, amazing pieces that we enjoyed from the finale. But I want to give you two the option to kind of, like, geek out a little bit. Is there one you wanted us to start with before Innkeeper and I and the audience start, like, picking things for us to kind of, like, dive into deeper?
I mean, going off of the last episode, I think it'd be rude if we didn't start with Balefire, since I noticed that did come up in a few conversations.
I like that. You're
probably a
gonna
good place to start.
Look at the poll. Look at the poll.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Let me look at the poll. 128 of you voted. Thank you, Innkeeper. Favorite VFX moment from season 3, episode 8 is actually Balefire. So, I mean, whatever you said, Andy, we were going to start with Balefire anyway. So good selection. Good selection. There. Yeah, let's start that. I do, in order to start there, oh my gosh, I just saw one of the concept shots. That's so cool. Okay, we're going to look at that in just a second. Sorry, buddy. They're going to be like, nice, Innkeeper. I want to show this. If for those of you that didn't know, we did a live watch party where we had over 50 fans on the screen, well, like between two screens from Zoom. And we watched this show together. At times we'd show a piece on like what was happening. We'd leave it blank. And I want us to do, like, let's watch the Balefire moment. It is muted, everybody. You're not going to see or hear the audio from the show. You will hear some fans talking about it that are reacting to it. But just look around the screen and you can kind of see the reactions of everyone. There's some great reactions that go on here, so enjoy.
Are you going to act out Tom? No? Okay.
No.
So let's see what Balefire does. That's what Balefire does.
Now everyone's like, okay, what's happening? If you just watch everybody here. It's this moment. Elaine gets this, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, what's about to happen?
Okay.
Oh my god.
Oh.
Holy
Holding
crap.
heads. You see like the purple hue on people's face.
Oh, how are they gonna do this?
Look down to the whole bottom, row.
Like the lady top right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well done.
Okay. Anyways, that was fantastic. I don't know if you guys we looked at this right before we started. Had you seen any of our reactions before this? Had you ever seen that did you know we were even doing this kind of live watch thing?
I did, yeah. I mean, I'm interested in seeing what the live reactions are, because if they were bad, I wouldn't be coming back on the show. I'd go into hiding and you wouldn't be able to find me again. No, I'm kind of interested. I think, look, as far as I'm concerned, like, it's, for me, it's almost like customer care in a way. You tend to watch your audience's reactions to see how certain things go down, how they're interpreted. I think for the most part, we've had a really positive response off of the work we've done on season 3, and some of the messages I get are kind of really positive and appreciate what they show us. So no, I think seeing the fan reaction or audience reaction, I think is definitely kind of really interesting, and certainly piques my interest in seeing like kind of, especially the facial reactions is kind of quite telling in how something's received.
Yeah. By the way, I wish we could get the same reactions for the image I'm about to show. So I was going to start with the Janine, the Balefire the 17 one. Is that where you want me to start, Andy, or you want me to pick a different one that
you can pick what I told you. Free reign, no holds barred. You can pick.
This one is amazing. Oh my gosh, this is just like, talk to us about this concept right here. Like
this is the images that live within my mind about 24 hours a day. No, it's we knew we kind of, the edit had been put together, and we decided sort of where we're going to see this Balefire moment happen. This very kind of close up shot here of Jeannie as she's being hit, and I really wanted to show this disintegration happening. Jeannie breaking down literally into threads as she's being burnt out of the pattern. Again, I really like to lean on this textile language that exists in the Wheel of Time regarding the pattern. And so this just kind of popped into my head, and there's a lot of initial thought I had about, have you ever seen steel wool burning? It gives this very interesting kind of burnt edges, and again, feels very thready-like in its quality. So that was like the big inspiration behind it. I really like the idea of her body kind of exploding almost with threads as she disintegrates as the balefire spreads throughout her torso and her head. But so this was put together one of my concept artists, and I kind of described what I wanted, showed him some reference images, and I can't remember how many versions we did. It wasn't a huge amount. I think 3 or 4 versions before we got to this one. But this went down really well and showed Rafe, loved it, and I know we even showed Amazon, and the executive at Amazon and Sony, and they really liked it as well. So I was really happy with this, and then we just kind of pushed it further when it came to the actual shot. That being, kind of more of that kind of luminance from inside the body as she ignited and disintegrated.
Yeah, it's I love how it starts right where she's hit, right? Like that's where most of that's coming from initially, right? And so, like, it's just wild when you get up to the shot, just this concept shot, like the eye and the mouth here. It's just like that is awesome.
Brian, the actress who played Jeannie, I think we met her at the kind of episode 1 and episode 2 cast and crew screening, and we did promise her that we're going to give her a spectacular death. Hopefully we lived up to our promise.
Oh, not disappoint.
No, not at all.
That was
Brian, is this your favorite too? Did you have a favorite VFX, like visual effect kind of from the finale?
From the finale, I did like this one. I didn't know that this one would go over as well as it did with the audience. No? For me, it was a little bit unexpected. I thought it was really cool, but I didn't know it would go over like this. I really like all of them though. Like I know it sounds so generic, but everything but the fix-it shots. That's the stuff I really like.
Well, I think it was the visual of seeing the rewinding happening.
Yeah.
But kind of in an ethereal way. Where it's still something that you can connect with, right? I think like show only watchers, I think they connected, like initially a lot of people were saying, just like you'll see it from this one, I think my daughter even was like, oh, so it's like a lightsaber of some sort, or whatever, it's like, well, it kind of has that look, but then seeing what it does, that's when it hits everybody. And I love watching people watching it and going like, oh shoot, how does that even work? And like, that was such everyone would seem to be reacting like they hit. And then it was that rewinding aspect, if you will, that really connected. Now, let me show this piece. This is the Balefire rod from a concept, right?
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's done by one of my. I have 2 Italian concept artists. They're both great, work in very different ways. And this is done by Consuelo, who is my other concept artist. And again, there was this idea of it, the balefire rod itself almost being an object that focused balefire. So we like this idea of this kind of beam coming out. Whenever I've read the book, I've gone through the books via the audio books, but there was always a description of this bar of light. So that was really important. We had this really important kind of bar of light coming out from the Balefire rock, but there was a certain wildness we wanted before that. So that's why we have these kind of Tesla coil kind of lightning strikes coming out that form into this Balefire beam out in front of the rod itself. And the whole purple aspect of it came from Rafe, actually. He was saying to me, as soon as we spoke about it, he wanted this ultraviolet look to it. And so with ultraviolet, depictions is usually has a purple hue to it. So that's why we incorporate this particular color. It makes it very distinct, to stand out from everything else. Colors are one of our main things for showing one power events and depicting different one of the 5 powers when they're channeling. And so we've given Balefire its own distinct color as well, so you always know exactly what's being used. But yeah, again, I think the color's great because it's just so different to everything else we've used in the show.
Yeah, I think it was that difference. It was like, it absolutely worked. By the way, I'm going to end this poll. I started this just a bunch of hours ago before the show. 165, you voted on this. Yes, your favorite moment was the Elaine Balefire piece there. I'll close that out. And I just want to I'm curious, ask everybody, like, purple for Balefire, rate it. We do this all the time here. Don't take any of this stuff personally. Don't look at the ratings. If you don't. I'm always curious, like, what lands and what doesn't. Kind of like we were saying. What is it? You brought this up, Brian. Did it hit? What hits? What doesn't? And so this one surprised
that's always a
you,
curiosity, right? Like, so we think there's things that we like as we go along. We know what the struggles are, what the things that go along, and then we also know, like, what stuff came late in the game. Ideas, or what stuff was like from the very beginning that might have been difficult, but you really don't know when you're going through it what the fans will really enjoy. So that's the part that's more fun for me, is to see the stuff that you guys really like.
Yeah, it's I have to look at this one more time just because it's just
And we love too when you guys pick it apart too. Like, I was looking in there when you zoomed in right there, and I could see like a skull in the shadows. It was kind of cool.
Right
by the cheekbone.
Oh man, yeah, like
we've got quite a collection of concepts. And not just us. There's Andre, the production designer, obviously has a ton of concepts as well. I'm a big fan of the art of books for movies and TV shows, and I'm just saying, maybe someone should start a petition to get one made for the
art of. Oh my gosh!
I'm just gonna plant that seed.
Let
it grow.
I like it. Yes. No. I think we should watch the scene one more time and then see if. By the way, if you have any questions in chat, this is like really just kind of like a fun, open conversation about visual effects. We'll throw some questions in that you might have. We'll watch some scenes. We'll jump back and forth to some fun images they brought us. But yeah, 100%. Art of, seeing all the art for the Wheel of Time would be awesome. Here you go. Here is this scene that we're talking about. Actually, let me turn up the volume.
No, it ain't!
Let's.
It's all dawning on them what just happened too. I guess we all know. Remind me who came up with, like, I understand what he was saying. We want you to Balefire, use it like this. Who came up with the idea of, like, visually showing the backward digression of like on screen?
That was quite a large curveball thrown at me by Rafe during the post-production process. So, you tend to have a kind of an edit that gets settled on for an episode, and then what I do is I'll sit down with Rafe, editor, producers, and go through the episode of spotting session. And you're calling out VFX work that needs to be done. So, for episode 8, it's quite a heavy session. I think kind of 2 or 3, 4 hours. I think it took us to go through.
It was multiple sessions too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and so it came to the Balefire moment, and I knew sort of roughly what was wanted, and Rafe then threw it to me. I need to show kind of the rewind effect happening, of which I kind of interpreted as being the ceiling repairing, which again was scripted.
Yeah.
And then he added, no, we need to see kind of time rewinding for Janie as she's hit and disintegrates. So it took about like 3 minutes of my jaw on the floor trying to figure out how we were going to do it, because we would have maybe shot things a little differently. But we came up with this, I came up with this concept that I really like the idea of, I called a thready Janie in the end was the name of the asset. This very thread-formed version of Janie appearing from her body as she disintegrates and seeing her actions reversed, because we obviously had all the footage of her being hit and tumbling through the air. So we essentially do what you call body tracking. So you're tracking the actress's movements via a 3D model of the same actress in the costume. We body track that, trace the movements, and then we could reverse it and apply that animation to our thready Janie version. I think, if I remember rightly, for my reference, I looked at I think he's German, like a 3D artist called Tobias Gremler, who does some really cool stuff. And I was looking at his work on season 2 for inspiration, because it was really interesting. And he does these kind of thread forms of people. So that was a big inspiration for how we depicted Janie visually, and then obviously just rewinding her actions was a really important aspect of that idea, to show how her actions are rewind through time, and then with the roof repairing. And I was hoping that it was clear to the audience and those who don't read the books, and I think we were successful in what we did with that one as well.
Yeah, how do you know when? So, for example, this one really hit really well. Like, how do you know when to stop working on an effect like this?
You don't ever stop. You just turn in what you have at the end. Like that's the thing, right? We never stop. It just when they say, they drop a line and say we can't take anymore, and then you're like, okay, it's over.
Nice, man. That was
you never stop. You just run out of time.
Yeah, right. No, that makes sense. Next up, I can't remember what our poll said was the next Innkeeper. Do you remember what they said? Oh, it was Moiraine and Lanfear boss fight.
Oh yeah.
This feels like a good place to go here. We have a number of images from this one, and let me see if we can start on this one. That's the Sark. Let's see this one, and because I saw a lot of people ask this question, so I am curious. So let's go here. 1 second. Okay. This was, this is obviously something we see happen. I love the crackling around this dome that she's created when she's already created the other dome over there, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it was almost like a miniature version of what she created initially over the Golden Bowl.
Right.
And this, I think I was trying to, by this point, I'm trying to encourage us to stay wide in shots for magic battles, because the environment lent itself to it, and was a great way of showing what's going on. I think I'd spoken to Kieran Donnelly, who was the director for episode 8, about this fight just before they shot it, because the shooting schedule was like brutally tight. So I was trying to help plan things out with him. This concept came later, and the big inspiration behind this was, and I remember correctly, there was a moment when I listened to The Dragon Reborn, and they have Rand has a fight at the end of that, I think with I won't say it's Ishamal, but it's his other name, Balsamon.
Balsamon.
Yeah, exactly. And there's this, I swear it says something about he uses black lightning on Rand, and I was like, oh, black lightning would be cool. How would that look? So that was a big inspiration behind that one, where I took an attack that was in from The Dragon Reborn and wanted to apply it here. And so that was the concept behind it. And then it came to the final shot. We went much bigger with the true power that was going around Lanfear. It was a lot more dynamic. I think all of the movement, the scale of it, I think was actually more on Framestore, who are the VFX vendor who worked on all things £1 channeling for us on the show. And they came up with this amazing image and behavior of the true power. that I just loved, and so we kept that just with this bigger scale. And then the lightning we kind of played around with, because getting black lightning looked kind of odd, but quite graphic in it, and so we had to keep it more traditional. But that was the general idea behind it. That I like this idea of Moiraine being attacked 360 degrees all around her, because that's what a Forsaken could do. But I'm interested in hearing little bits in other books in the series, and where we can maybe apply them, especially when it comes to some sort of 1-power attack. Because there's a ton of different options for us that I think we can grab and use in the show.
Yeah, I think I want to say it was Sarah Nakamura was talking about online, like talking to you. You guys would talk a lot about like what's possible with the 1-power,
yeah, she was a wealth of knowledge, right? That like for some of us, who came onto just the show, and then like Andy doing the audiobooks, like we would ask her all kind of questions.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, that's what a fun kind of addition to that conversation. There's this Forsaken Air Blast. So I want to look at this one too, everybody. I think you'll enjoy this one. If I can open it up here. And right here. So yeah, maybe talk about how this came to be and what you were thinking.
Oh, so we've got our Aes Sedai Air Blast. I've seen Alana do it throughout the show. Elaine does it, I think, and she grabs the Balefire rod as well. So I wanted an air blast that was, Forsaken worthy. So it needed to be a lot bigger, feel a lot more powerful. And this was a particular shot that Kieran Donnelly had spoken to me about. We wanted to sort of pull the camera back and we follow the attack up towards where Moiraine is. And so I like this idea of this concussive staggered domino effect kind of blast, big radial, quite geometric in its weave, and also in the appearance of the air distortion as well, because that's just a look I've used for all the Forsaken, this geometrical, futuristic sci-fi look to their channeling and their 1-power creation. Yeah. So I think it was just the size and scope of it, this sense of movement towards camera. Those are my big driving forces for that particular kind of concept and how we executed it in the shot. But I love the movement of it, the dynamism to the shot.
Yeah, it's fun to see as it happens, like we were talking about. So I think that's right around. This one's hard to find because it like jumps back and forth between. There we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Comes right after this piece. It's like right here. There we go.
Again, I think with all these things, once the sounds applied to it as well, it just brings everything alive and gives it that extra heightened level of kind of impact when you're watching it. The sound is so important.
I have always and will always love that. I would die.
It feels like just somebody playing. There's Lanfear just having fun. Watch this. I could just. I'm gonna try this weave that I really liked. I haven't been able to use before. I'm gonna try this one out. That Innkeeper. Did you have a favorite part of that fight between the two of them? I know people were bringing up the true power, and what was the concept behind bringing the true power alive in that way? We saw it a little bit, obviously, in season 2 with Lanfear at the beginning of episode 5, but we're seeing it a lot more here. So, what was the thought process behind how to, bring it to life?
So, as you say, we kind of established a bit of a look in. I said, was it episode 5 in season 2? It's obviously a spoiler, but Lanfear heals herself via the true power. Saw the black flecks appearing in her eyes, and the main brief behind that was for it to feel very creepy. So that's why we had it come through the floor, had it kind of like an icky, sticky treatment to it, look to it, and so we really just carried that across into season 3. But we just want to kind of go bigger with it in the term, and more aggressive the way it moves around someone. Rafe really didn't want it to feel like baddie channeling, I guess. He didn't really want it to feel like there was something kind of different in a way. And there is a little bit of a similarity between that true power and then the corruption that goes through the channeling deliberately so, because obviously everything's coming from the dark one. They're kind of the same but different. So we do have a kind of a similar look over both of them, just because it's something created by the Dark One himself.
We appreciate your devotion to the word corruption. We do.
Yeah. And
every time we hear it, we
go,
the corruption. The corruption, is that what it's called?
That's what we call it.
I know, it's so funny when I hear it. I'm always like, they're not going to say the word. They're gonna.
This is like the biggest directive on the show. It's like, you can do anything, like make any change, but we cannot.
Don't
not
say the
corruption.
T word. Don't say the T word. Yeah, let's watch that. I mean, it's a really, really cool moment here. So.
It's us.
It's the energy that gives the movement to it. It feels sinister, the way it swirls around Lanfear, and getting that kind of evil, aggressive look. I think that's one thing we do. Is that contrast between light and dark, good and evil. There's no grey area. It's real kind of pure fantasy in a way. You're showing those two sides of the two opposing sides, very much like the kind of yin and yang sign. That's part of the part of the Wheel of Time imagery or logo. So yeah, it's just a fun kind of asset for us to play with.
Yeah, people brought up like Venom, the show Venom. Like it kind of has a Venom like in your head. You're like seeing this, but it obviously isn't alive in that way, and so it's cool to see it kind of surrounding Lanfear in this moment. And like you said, the black and white people they really loved that. I mean, Innkeeper, was that your favorite effect, or did you have a favorite other effect that wasn't Balefire or this moment?
I feel like probably Balefire was my favorite, but of the fight, there's the one you shared. I don't think we have a concept that goes with that, but the one you shared of the fireball and the shield. Yeah. Like that just like we've seen fireballs, but those fireballs were like it goes back to even season 1 when Matt says the lady does shoot fireballs, and it's like like it looks like the Sakarnan level of fireballs. I thought that was really, and it was a really blink or you miss kind of moment, but yeah.
I apologize for the low resolution aspect of this image, because I'm sure you guys, you see like paltry versions of the things you create, and you're like, well, thanks for sharing that one. It doesn't look nearly as cool, but yes, this is like some fun. I get that. This is fun for me, is to go back and kind of do stills and then like piece them together, especially when I fix the being out of order aspect of my initial one. But yeah, like what a fun scene this is. Like, I don't know, like, how do you think of something being fun or more fun, less fun? But like, I don't know, this people like were like, this kind of has a Dragon Ball Z kind of thing going on. Like this like feels like, I mean, I felt like I was for a moment like the 80s kid in me came back of like, I feel like had kind of like this, like arcade. You said, arcade feel to it. And then you zoom in and I wanted to call this one out specifically. This was so cool. This moment, again, low resolution. Sorry, everybody. This moment, you'll see him come in and it pushes on the shield, and the shield like expand, like it kind of expands. Looks like, at least, it's kind of stretching in before it, comes back out, and you don't have as much of, like, but it's such a cool moment because it feels alive, right? The shield feels like it's there, and these things feel like they're pushing on them.
Yeah, it's like a tangible aspect to it, right?
Well, I love this. And
one of the magic words, though, is the alive part. I think that was something that was always trying to focus on, is getting something that looked organic, something that looked alive, and something that would react.
Yeah, like and it does, right? And like this happens so quick. That's why I wanted to do this. It's such a quick moment.
It's so quick
that you just don't really even see every single thing that's going on. But I noticed this, right, as you look. And I was wondering how you were conceiving of this. Is this like, this looks a little bit like I don't know if she's pushing air down at the ground, if that's what's happening here. Did like Andy, like I see, like do we have an explanation of like what we're seeing here with her legs hanging and what is affecting her?
So this is actually a two-stage attack from Moiraine here, where I like this idea where Moiraine does this almost kind of massive shockwave where she hits a Sakana on the floor.
Yeah.
And Lanfear gets thrown backwards. And then I actually, again, from the Shadow Rising, there's the fight between Nynaeve and Megideon where one of them is held up in the air. And I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. But I was like, oh, that would be cool if we can hold them up in the air. And we've already established a kind of air weave for that in episode 1 when Swan lifts Leandrin up. So we're going to use that to kind of hold her in position. And we have Lanfear kind of throw up a shield, and then it's just fireballs thrown at her.
I did not know that was happening. I didn't know how. So that makes so much more sense. Like
it's happened so fast.
Moiraine is holding her there and trying to like kill her with the fireballs, and she's doing this and that at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I did not know. Like so, I was like, I wasn't sure if that was like Lanfear pushing somehow like air down to kind of like potentially levitate a little bit, or what. But that makes sense.
Trying to hold her up and beat her.
Yeah, you can kind of see the like it's like it's pulling on her legs there. And which is why she's a little bit more. It's not like she's just kind of like hanging up there like, hey, I'm free, I'm flying, versus like I'm held here and I'm trying to defend myself while being pinned to the ground, if you will. So okay,
yeah,
I like rental mores. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that carries across. Actually, I think there's another shot later where behind Lanfear, she's still up in the air. If you pay close attention, you'll notice a very subtle fire cutting weave come out of Lanfear's hand and cut that air weave that's holding her up in the air.
No, we have to watch it.
Hold on. Did you have a timestamp, Andy? You have to bring timestamps to the.
I'm not bringing timestamp. If I'm honest, you should probably all watch the episode again, and whilst you're doing it, just watch the whole season.
That's right. Just watch the whole season.
Repeat.
Please.
Knowing, by the way, Michelle said knowing that makes this scene even better. And then it's like Moiraine, don't play. Like, oh, that weave on her feet is Moraine's weave. Yeah. See, a lot of people are like. So where it's during their fight, it's before she stabs her. Obviously, it's the initial.
It's just before. It's just as Lan comes to run in as a wide shot. All three of them are aimed.
Okay, yeah, I see that. I see that.
It's like 58-22.
Yeah, it's about right there. The looks that she does sometimes is just.
No.
Okay. Like that just happens so quick. And that's why she's flailing, because she's being held there, which makes so much sense.
I mean, it happened so quick because Rafe wanted to squeeze so much into the episode. So we had to tell the stories very quickly.
Oh, there, I saw it.
Okay.
It's in her hands. You see it in her hands. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that is so cool.
It kind of cuts down the back of that air weave. And then to land
there.
Right there. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, that's the amount of little things that you have to literally. That's what I've noticed when I've been doing these. Like when I go to find fun images, like the episodes are fun to watch 1 millisecond. Sometimes, like you're like play pause as you go, and there's just like really cool shots, which is what I usually make these things out of. That you just don't notice when it's like moving so fast.
I mean, we need to give you guys a reason to go back and rewatch it. I mean, by hiding something in there. I do it for you guys.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. Oh my gosh, that one's awesome. Yeah, I can see a lot of people like, oh, I had no idea that was happening. So, by the way, I asked you a while back, purple for Balefire. Rate it. Would you like to know your rating here, Andy and Brian? Do you want to know Balefire purple?
Okay. What is it?
98% gave you 8 or above on picking purple for purple and Balefire. You got a 98 with 73% total picking 10 out of 10 no notes. There you go. So
we'll take that as a win. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a pretty good win.
Yeah,
that's a huge win. Innkeeper, was I think we talked about the one you brought up. What were you saying? What were you laughing at?
No, I'm just looking at the random one. Did you see the secret gray man holding Lanfear's feet?
It was the gray man the entire time. Yeah.
And I'm surprised that no one spotted the 15 eel hiding in the scene as well. Guys are slipping.
We don't. When you say stuff like that, you know we're gonna look, which is kind of rude, you know, because you know we're gonna be like, I wonder if they did hide some in there. You put up another shot in here, which let me see if I can't remember. Is it 28? Yeah, it's right here. So I wanted to do this. Look at this concept shot. This is Lan, and this is like. Is this the shield she's putting up, basically?
Yeah,
And I think Moraine's, yeah, that.
A glass attack. That's right. Yeah. So again, I think we've just seen it in the previous couple of shots. Lanfear puts up her Forsaken air shield, as we'll label it here, to protect herself from Moraine's attack. And very much like the Forsaken air blasts, I wanted something that felt different, almost kind of felt more solid in a way. And I like this idea again of her air shield, or Forsaken air shield, being made up of these geometric shapes. And then Framesville kind of took that idea for us and then developed it and had this kind of repetitive flowing animation happening through the air shield itself. So you would constantly see like this repeating animation of these geometric kind of triangular shapes that make up the air shield, constantly flowing radially from the center outwards. And this is where it all started, though, was this particular concept, and then we went for kind of a more of a circular shape. But as I always trying to get this futuristic, geometric, sci-fi look into anything that Forsaken do is usually kind of my number one sort of briefing part for this.
And she was the scientist too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is basically what I do to the episode. It's just like. I love that shot. Really nice. Of the warping as you see it through there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's good. I mean, especially kind of for Natasha and Rosamund during this whole section, there's a lot of times you can easily lose them behind, say, an air shield or an attack. And it's always really important for us to kind of show their facial performance, because they give such great performances with their expressions that we just don't want to lose those. But sometimes when you can see it distorted through an air shield or something, can make it look even more dramatic.
Yeah, as they're. Look at that. She gets cut as they hit the shield there. Yeah.
Yeah, the classic tactic in Wheel of Time is to distract the channeler. And so
Right.
really well. Yeah, it does. It seems to be a really kind of common trope.
Okay,
I
so
felt from reading the books.
this effect right here, there's a lot of controversy about this effect. So I want to bring your mind to it. You don't. I don't know if you've heard this before. It's famous. It comes out of Read and Find Out to Watch and Find Out. So you can always feel free to say this to fans, and you shouldn't be shy about it. If you don't just want to give up something and you want to make them theory. A little bit of controversy right here about this. What's happening here? Some people believe. She was unable to heal herself. Some people believe she was able to heal herself a little bit. And some people believe she just healed herself. No, you think maybe she didn't, but she actually did. But she... So those are the three options. Before you say anything, I'm going to ask our audience here about this shot. Did Lanfear heal herself? Yes. Yes, all the way. Yes, a little bit. No, she was unable to heal herself. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about something else, and you think about if you want what type of thing you want to answer or not. We're going to let everyone answer this for the next. We'll give them like 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. But this is one of the kind of shots afterwards that people are like, okay, what does this mean? Because of that shot, you have the later shot where. This shot right here, we'll play this one.
Oh, is this the shot where Matt was worried?
I was worried. I was worried at this shot. Lanfear is my favorite character in the Wheel of Time, and you guys worried me here. I'll be honest. There was a moment that. So, yeah, she's bleeding a lot there. There's a lot of blood. And
believe it or not, I actually had to dial back on the amount of blood I
Yes.
initially put in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was more. I had to
Oh, there's
dial
a
back
little
on
bit
it.
of a. Is that the weave right there?
That's the weave. That's the
Oh.
same gateway. Here we say it now. It's
in
the
3.
same gateway weave that was used
Oh.
in episode 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same gateway. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was a gateway. Okay.
It is.
Okay. So by the way, right now, we have over 100 people have voted so far. It's only been a minute, so we'll still get people. Right now, it's 52% no, she was unable to heal herself, 41% yes a little, 7% yes all the way. So you can see there's a 50-50 split here. Brian, do you know the answer to this question?
I think I do know the answer, but I could be wrong, Andy. So I thought no.
Okay, you said no. You would have answered no. She was unable to heal herself.
No.
By the way, to the audience, don't feel like you have to follow Brian right now.
No,
Brian
I
doesn't
mean,
seem
no,
like
but
I mean, don't feel like you have to be pulled in just because. I mean, Brian might be the VFX producer here, but that doesn't mean.
But
he knows
me and
for sure.
Andy often disagree sometimes. So
okay. Let's let them vote a little bit longer. Let's let them vote a little bit longer. That was that whole sequence. Give us kind of an idea of like just the boss fight between them and Lan right there. And when it comes to VFX, what are we looking at here? One person, 400 years, 10 people. Like, what is how many hours of time is related to like putting together the VFX and people for this kind of effort to give us something like that at the end of this episode?
There is probably someone somewhere who has a very good statistic on this, on how long it took. That'd be some sort of VFX production member, of which point I will glaze over and not really care.
Brian.
Wow,
we spent a lot of time on this sequence as a whole. I would say, Andy, we probably had like, God, I mean, how many people actually from the Frame Store side do you think were on this? But
on this fight scene, I don't know, it could be anything 50? From 50 to 100,
Yeah, over the course of the whole thing, but then man hours, you say multiple weeks. Here, let me get a little calculator.
Now,
Brian's
now
numbers
Brian
guy.
pull out his calculator.
Yeah, that's the best.
They were desperate. It's a pretty. I mean, the whole season's been pretty intense. We had a shorter post production period. I think it's kind of quite double digits. I think we ran into of how much it was shorter, mainly so we can keep you guys happy and deliver the season quicker. I think it was 18 months between season 2 and 3, rather than I know a lot of shows it's 2 years.
Yeah.
So we had a ton of stuff to get through. So it was really intense. Everyone was kind of at it full throttle since episode 1 as well, because episode 1 I think had the most amount of visual effects shots, probably, especially with channeling.
I can tell you.
And then it just never let up. I blame the writers, too much channeling.
We had 120. No, was it? No, where is that?
There's a lot. I mean, we would like
452 shots in episode 1.
452.
369 shots in episode 8.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm guessing there's probably somewhere between in that sequence, probably 1,800 hours to 2,000 hours.
That's crazy. What about episode 4? I would imagine that was a lot of shots too. Or
episode.
It was
300.
I mean, traditionally, usually, I think on TV shows, you get 2 middle episodes, and they kind of, I want to say they're filler episodes. It's a little bit of I'm playing them down a bit, but they tend to have a little less VFX. And Rafe decided to do the opposite and put loads in. It was just literally one after the other, and then you had episode 304, episode 4, which was very close to the books, got a massive reaction. I think I was kind of surprised by some of the reaction we got for it. And then you'd think, well, maybe the next 2 episodes a bit quieter, but then we had episode 5 of Moiraine channeling at the start, and then we have Alana channeling the fog, and there's probably a ton of work in there which I'm forgetting. And then it was episode 6, and we had Rand going mad at the end, and it was relentless. I've got to. I think it's probably a good opportunity for me is to kind of appreciate the teams, the VFX vendors who worked on the shows. We had 4 of them, which was Framestore, Below FX, Outpost VFX, and One of Us. You know, there's also an in-house team who take care of a lot of cleanup stuff for us. That was they're called TPO, the post office. But these guys put in so much work, and like we're unbelievably proud of the work they've done, appreciate everything they've done, you know. And it's not just the artists, you have the kind of management teams, the production teams, you've even got
our team is amazing,
the technology teams that support them, you know. And there's just so much care and attention and hours that go into it, and the project itself went down really well at all these vendors. Really positive feedback. Everyone really enjoyed working on it because it's just a very different show to other stuff. It's a bit more original, and I say that real kind of pure fantasy aspects of it, I think people really enjoy. You wouldn't believe the amount of discussion that goes into these shots, the amount of times we watch these shots, me with a laser pointer pointing at a big screen, giving notes.
And we have some of the vendors who are working on it too who are big fans, right? So sometimes they would correct us a little bit here and there.
Would they?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's did I freeze on the screen there?
Just for a second, yeah.
I'm frozen. Let's see if it comes back. Bring me back. Are we still up on Restream? Is it just me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, it does seem like it's.
Well, we'll try. Can you hear me?
Do you want to? Yeah. It seems like. Ooh, you just went black.
I know. I'm.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to.
We've cut to black very early, Matt. Haven't we?
Yeah. While you figure that out, I have to ask.
I'll try to figure it out.
My favorite scene of episode 8 might not have had any VFX, but I wanted to ask. It's the fin. So when Matt goes in, obviously there's that, the going in is probably that's VFX. But in the room, is there anything there that you had to do?
No, I'm happy to say that's nothing to do with us. The only thing we did there was paint out a wire that was holding up Robert Strange, who plays the Elfin. I think maybe when he's just standing on the platform, because he had those ridiculously high heels on. No, that was kind of all to do with Sharon and Davina, and then Nick Dubin as well, who was head of makeup effects, who is the god of all things to do with makeup effects, by the way. I used to go a little bit shaky around Nick, because the things he's worked on, he did Jack Nicholson's Joker face in Batman 1989.
Wow.
He was involved with the Ewoks in Return of the Jedi. He is involved in Harry Potter very heavily as well, and Fifth Element as well. If I remember right, he did all Fifth Element as well. So he's been there and done it, and he's got some really cool stories. That was kind of the big part of that was on his department, and they did a really cool job. And I was actually there on set when they were shooting with it. And it comes to the end of the day, and we need to, for pretty much every single character, we get a 3D scan done of them by a company we use called Clear Angle. So it's surrounded by lots of cameras. They take hundreds of photos all at the same time, which then or used using the process called photogrammetry. You can create a 3D mesh from there. So I was really interested to see what the costume looked up close. So when they wrapped for the day, I ran down to the stage floor, and then I spoke to Robert about the costume he was wearing, and he actually said it felt really comfortable. But apart from that, no, that was all practical. That was all in camera, and it was kind of a bit of a throwback, I think, to 80s and 90s in camera creatures, which was really cool to see. I'll be honest, we had so many shots, I'm glad we weren't involved with
it. You did probably add the spear, the Ashandarai outside, right? Is that again? Hey, again, this is a perfect. If you want to use a watch and find out, you can.
Well, it doesn't. Didn't Rafe say talk? It's there. Talk to Andy. He said something. What did he say? He said something in his FAQs, his Q&A he did on Instagram.
Oh, really? Okay.
He made a comment.
I can't duck this one. No, Rafe did actually say that I added
it
for them. Yeah, it wasn't there on the day actually, and so we had to add it as Outpost VFX, who did the work for us on that one. They've added in the Chandra. I think it's in 2 shots, maybe 3. And that's a motivation for where the rope hangs from.
Right.
Because obviously in the books it's in Ruidian, it's hanging from, I think, the Vendisaur tree, isn't it? So it's a kind of a poetic touch hanging from the
doorway,
from the Chandra. But it was really important that we got it in there, and I'm glad people have picked up on it or have since picked up on it. That's good. I'm glad. But yeah, we like to hide things. We don't want to make it easy for you all the time.
No.
No.
Subtlety is one of our specialities for the show.
By the way, my fellow innkeeper here, he went out and found that quote I think you were talking about. Let's show it. Whips of black lightning curled around her. She screamed as they lifted her, hurled her to the side along the floor like a sack until she came up against one of the columns. Rand stared up at where the lightning had come from. There was a deeper shadow up there near the top of the columns of blackness that made all those shadows look like noonday, and from it 2 eyes of fire stared back at him. Slowly the shadow descended, resolving into Balsamon, clothed in dead black, like a Myrddraal's black. So there you go. Nice call out.
Did you find that so quickly? Was it just buried in the recesses of your mind?
I mean, you said black lightning, and I'm like, I have to find out why true power looks like the true power. And it's the sort of things like you probably like know more than we do, because you're like, that's 2 words, and we're like, what's happening in the scene? Yeah, it's really
that
cool.
was the reason is that when I listened, because I was going through the books. That was one fight that stood out to me specifically because that felt very different to all the others. I don't think any sort of 1 power fights felt as big as that, was detailed as that up until that point. So that one always stuck in my mind. But as I say, it's something where you can write these things, but how does it look visually? And so the black lightning, it wasn't quite right if we did it black. So that's where we went for more kind of a traditional lightning look in the ends, because that looked more effective on screen.
Yeah,
it totally did. Yeah.
As I'm trying to get the shot, if people missed the Chandra, trying to find this.
It is a definitely blink and you miss it moment.
Yeah, it's like this wide shot of Matt right there. Here you are. If you did not notice it, and hopefully you can see it on the screen here. But it's here, right at the top. I'll remove this, but you can see it just right up there.
Very real Chandra. Yep.
Yeah, there you
go. So we did exaggerate the ping on the blade of the Chandra just a little bit, just to bring people's attention up to the top there. Subtle
look
enough,
up here. Nice.
Yeah, nice.
One of the ones I wanted to talk about was this one that you provided us for, like this. This is really cool. I did not notice this at first, that this storm carries out over some of the end sequence shots. That, like, the first watch through, I was like, I did not notice that until I started reading people talk about it, and that made what Rand was doing here even cooler in this moment. Like that, it had the dragon is one with the land. An idea expressed this way, and I love that you see that. Again, kind of spread over the land and what that kind of portends here. This is obviously a concept of where you guys were going. Yeah, is there anything else you wanted to kind of describe about the storm?
No, yeah. Again, I just wanted to make it feel a little bit more different, because we have another storm cloud, obviously in episode 7 with Alana with her Iceblade storm. This one we were going to film kind of more, I don't know, godlike in a way. So I wanted to use the movement of Rand's channeling, this twisting movement to it, and almost have a spout where it forms just above where Rand's channeling comes into contact with it, and it spreads out from there. So it needed to feel something that kind of felt a little bit sort of dangerous in a way, but there's definitely kind of that churning movement to the cloud was important for me, and seeing it expand out across over the land.
Yeah, I'm going to grab that other shot you were talking about.
It needed to be epic and huge, right?
Yeah, it's just funny that
that's something that spanned the world.
Right. You called it the blade cloud. It's just perfect. Is it like it shoots down actual blades? Yeah, that's a cool those are the things like thready gene, like that, those words like that you've used in your behind the scenes. Yeah, it's just like funny to see that.
Oh yeah, there's lots of. I mean, we've got lots of lots of code words we call it. I mean, when they're in Teleranriod and they break into pieces, we always call that the folding effect.
The folding
Okay.
effect. Oh, nice.
Folding effect was called that one.
Sometimes we have to use simple terminology so we can express it to other people.
Oh yeah, no, we
Yeah,
get it.
totally.
We've acronymed the hell out of the Wheel of Time because
Yes.
when you're talking about it online, you just get. That's why we say Watt, right?
Exactly.
We're still gonna say Wheel of Time. Yes, Watt. By the way, 166 of you voted on this one. Did Lanfear heal herself? It ended up as a 50-50 split.
That's funny.
It's basically the yeses are 50 and the nos are 50. Andy, would you like to answer this question?
I can answer this one. She does not heal herself. No, she fails to heal herself. Hence the surprise when she realizes she can't heal herself.
There you go.
Of Lan and his Malkia blade,
The sword,
the Forsaken Killer.
Okay. There you go, everyone. That she can't heal herself, and we do notice that she goes to Tar Valon. I don't know if you saw us pick that picture out. Innkeeper actually saw that shot, and I think I have that. Don't I? Do I have that in?
I'm pretty sure you
I think I just
shared
posted it. Right? Yeah. I feel like I've shared it, so it should be one of those that I should be able to find pretty easily in the media. Let me see. Let me see if I can find this one. Oh, there it is, everybody. If you did not see this, because Innkeeper was like, I think we've seen this shot, or somebody online said it, and then I think Innkeeper, you were like, oh yeah, where's that at? So we had to go find this. Right? This is the kind of stuff that we're not going to be able to do like without more new content. So we had to like take our moment and so the one question we had was, and it's not really a question to me. I'm pretty sure she just gated there in the real world, not into Teleranriad. But it is a theory out there that maybe she went through Teleranriad. I'm just imagining she went there because she's hoping to find somebody that can heal her. That's what I'm assuming is the case. So
I'm gonna say no comment on any of
that. I was giving you an out. I wasn't focusing on you there. You can hold on that. And she can't heal herself, but someone else can. That's right. Brian called it the Lanfear butt freeze frame too. Electric Boogaloo. That's right. Disappointed in that. I'm trying to see if I missed any comments here. Boom. There we go. Yes, you were right. If you kind of theorized that moment. Were there other shots there, Innkeeper? We covered the one there.
I mean, the Nynaeve. I mean, I think we have to talk.
Oh
about,
yeah,
like.
Do I have those? Do we have those? Other than
I don't know if there's a. I don't
we
know
have
if
the post you shared today. Why don't we can go and actually just watch that shot. The Nynaeve shot is. This is just fun. And it's such a funny moment because everyone calls it like. I think somebody called it like mini Moses moment.
There is no way I could have done that particular sequence without it being compared to Moses or Moana.
Those are the two.
That is basically. So I did a first watch with my family, my wife and daughters, and they I think one of them said. This is giving Moses and Moana vibes. So
I think the biblical kind of connotations with it aren't don't go completely amiss here because it's Nynaeve. It's just a massively powerful channel, and I'd say it's almost godlike in the power or ability she has. So if you get that kind of comparison, I don't think it's wrong to have that. Because that's almost the way we're trying to depict Nynaeve here. And I'm just pleased. As I said, Zoe actually came in. Zoe plays Nynaeve, came into one of our review sessions with Rafe. I just happened to be in town at the time. And we showed her this. And she was really happy with how it was looking. It wasn't even finished. But I said that I was just pleased for Zoe that after 3 seasons, she was allowed to channel for once.
And she got the most expensive shots in the series.
That's true. This shot, I mean, she acts the hell out of this moment right at the top when she gets here. I love my favorite moment of this is when she takes a little step back because of the water. Like she just raised like herself brought herself out of the water, split the sea, if you will, and then this water's coming back at her, and she kind of steps back a little bit in this moment, which makes me laugh every time I see it. It's like water's gonna hit me. It's a really funny moment. How much of that is practical? In other words, Is there any water actually here, or is she just
No.
on a stage?
No, no
Okay.
water whatsoever.
You didn't even
There is-
splash some water to kind of create something. Okay.
So I'll be honest. That whole kind of scene and leading up to the scene, Zoe was amazing because there were lots of discussions about shooting dry for wet, and by that I mean you're kind of cheating someone being underwater. I personally never think that works very well. Looks very good. I was the one pushing no, you should dunk Zoe in water and film her underwater. And I'll be honest, she was like total pro with it. Took it on board. I think she really wanted to do it as well underwater. So like all the shots where she's underwater, she's drowning. Yeah, that's her underwater.
Oh,
That tank, because it's a tank right by the dock to the Palace. So they shot everything. I think with the water in the tank. With her under the water, her getting thrown into the water when everyone initially comes to the Palace, and then they emptied out the tank for us to do the parting of the waves shot. So all of this, yeah. So we replaced all the background here. I should also mention that chain is CG as well because we needed a way to keep it down.
You made a couple ideas of how that was going to work, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the only thing we've kept from the plate there is Zoe. Everything else around has been changed. That's all digitally replaced.
Huh.
Again, really great work done there by Framestore. But no, Zoe was like an absolute trooper going under the water. Acted the hell out of it. To put out that performance as well was like really commendable because that's extremely hard to do.
Yeah, I loved it.
And
Her
then-
performance is fantastic.
Yeah, then when it came to the parting of the ocean, I had them dunk Zoe with a load of water as well. So it's really important she looks wet because she's just come out of the water. So she's having water poured over it before
It was
taken
cold
off.
out.
Yeah, I remember right. It was really cold in Prague.
It was cold out, yeah. And
Um,
that was an external set.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, she does a fantastic job. By the way, yeah. Thank you, Rant On More, for the tip. Come if you dare, Shaitan. I am the storm. That's a good one. And thank you very much, Robert. Said, Andy and Brian, you're awesome, and thank you for adding so much to one of my favorite stories of all time. You're the best. So thank you very much for that. Yeah, the drowning shots actually being underwater, that was freaking crazy. And no Zoes were lost in the making of this film.
No Zoes were
That's
lost.
correct.
Thankfully not. I mean, you need to suffer for your art, but the payoff from it is just totally worth it.
Yeah.
Not that I was the one who was underwater all that time.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a nice call out for that shot. That's such a There's such fun, interesting sequences just with the effects side of it. I'm trying to think of earlier stuff because the whole episode. Was there anything else from the episode from an effects standpoint that maybe doesn't stand out as much to us, where you guys are really involved? You said there's 382 shots. So what are we?
Just because there's a few things for me. If we look at when our Black Arge arrive at the Panok Palace,
Okay.
there's a kind of crane shot that comes down, moves right to left. Quite a large portion of that, I mean, half the screen is blue screen. And one of us who are the vendors working for us in the Panok Palace did a really great environment extension on that.
All the water, everything beyond the steps was CG.
Oh yeah, here's the shot right now.
Yeah, that's so. As I say, we had this
The
this
Panak Amateur
Panok Palace
has
set
not
on the
invited you to enter.
backlot, and then everything you see in the distance, even the wall that continues off into the distance of the Panok Palace, we replaced. And another fact, interesting fact, that painting she unfolds, that's a full digital painting as well. We replaced the original one because certain creative decisions made about the size of the shackled man painting. So that was a completely CG painting in Leandrin's hands there as well. Again, a really great piece of work done by VFX for us on that one.
Yeah, it's a. I didn't realize I have these two shots. By the way, I didn't show these two, which I want to. 26. We were talking about this before. I was like, I swear there's more shots here. And we talked about this one, but I think we don't really get up and man. Sometimes I'm like, is there like just 20 other minutes of this episode that we're never going to see? Because I'm like, we don't get a full back shot of this moment. So it happens, but we don't get the payoff, if that makes sense. Like we see her do something and then we're like it'd been nice to kind of see the actual, this full look of the dome. I don't feel like we get that moment in the show as much. Are there stuff like that all the time where you guys have created shots that they just get cut? Like on the
it does happen, but we try to do that before we get started on them, right? So that you don't waste the money. Those type shots. But if I think Rafe said this in one of the interviews too, like if we could have it any way we wanted, he would have the episodes be much longer to show so much more detail. But we, there's a restricted amount of time and money.
Yeah. Just a beautiful shot, that one. And there was another one here. I think it was it 27? Yeah. This is the glass. Oh, sorry. The glass shot here.
I'm going to say there's only 8 shots that we actually completed and cut.
What do you mean by that? There's only 8 shots?
Like where you completed the entire shot and then didn't put it in.
Oh, okay. Oh, for the whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the whole.
And then there's probably, I think we had around like 32 where we started them, and then at some point we had to remove them. And
when you say they don't end up in the shot, that's for the whole season 3, or is that just for the last?
That's for season 3. Like we're pretty efficient with what goes in and what goes out from earlier stages, so that we can maximize how much money we put on screen, right? Because that's the goal in the end, is to put as much value on screen for you guys to see. So the good decision making throughout the process. So
yeah. There's this one which also you shared with us. Oh, probably. Where's it at? There we go.
Breaking of the Dark Oaths. Yeah. That one was kind of this idea of the black veins spreading across her face and the kind of a bruised look, which was the bruised look was quite subtle in the end. But I mean, again, we wanted something that felt quite dark and sinister happening. To Melindra here as she breaks her darker oaths. But again, this is almost got sort of horror connotations. Rafe always likes it when we lean into horror sort of imagery as well. This definitely had that feeling to it.
Yeah. I got a question. Dana Lewis said, "So clever to create glass from sand with the one power. Was that in the script? Was that something you guys came up with, or is that in the script and you just kind of brought it to life?"
Hopefully, I remember this. I think I might have suggested it in the end, or I think I might have suggested that Moiraine channels into the ground and then glass shards come out and fly towards Lanfear. If I've got that right, I'm sure wrong.
I think so. Actually,
will soon tell me.
No, I think you do.
Andy did it. It was Andy's idea. That's what we're going with.
I like this idea that she's using Sakana's channels fire channeling into the sand, and from that combination, she can create glass.
Oh, that's cool.
Flies up towards that. It just felt like an interesting combination.
Michael wanted to know that one that we just saw of the close up. Is that an actual concept shot of her face, or was that actually in I don't know what you call it.
No, that's an actual concept. So we've taken a still of the shot, and then Simo, my concept artist, has painted over the top of that to then portray the idea. And then what we do is show that to Rafe and say, "Hey, this is the idea we want to do." I think, like from my perspective, having a concept for as much work as we can is really important, because it just conveys the idea really quickly. Everyone has a really good idea of what it's going to look like, and then from there you kind of work out how you get to that moment and the build up to it, which is just as important.
It's such a it's a beautiful shot. I saw a mention of this, people wanting to talk about this one, so we can talk as this is happening. This is this tragic moment where Elida stills Swan. Obviously this is a huge moment in the show, and then obviously a huge effects moment. Was there a thought? I mean, we saw this initially. We saw Logain be gentled in the first season. Was there a concept here of adding something to this one, doing something different? Was there, were you trying to show something different that didn't come out in that first season when we saw gentling, or something different about it with stilling?
No, I mean, in terms of season one, Brian and I weren't involved with that, so I had a little bit more creative freedom to adjust to things if I wanted to.
Yeah.
We didn't actually have. I don't think we actually had a concept art. The only thing we concepted were the stilling arrows that go into Swan.
Yeah.
And then rip out of her. And I was like, how do you show someone physically being stilled? Because I don't know if it's like just suggested that in a book. I can remember there being something that fully describes it, but I like the idea of just seeing the one power flowing out from someone as they're being stilled. That power almost being sucked and taken from them, ripped from them. I really wanted a clear way of that being shown on screen, something that felt quite dramatic and spectacular at the same time. And anything, that comes from the chest area always feels like kind of very sort of internal soul-like for me. And that's how we gained our way to have this idea on screen.
Yeah, the arrows were such I remember us watching this and we talked about it afterwards, which was, is she killing her with arrows? And then when it was no, she's stilling. We knew, we expected the stilling, I think, in that moment, and we're like, okay, maybe what's happening with the arrows? And so was the idea that those were just kind of, what was the idea of they're just hooking in? Was it meant to they're Brian, you're saying
they're barbed, right? I think there's a structure to them so when they go in. Yeah. Gotcha.
So it's they're going in and grabbing hold, if you will.
Yeah, it's almost like a kind of a medieval torture aspect to this stilling. Like the idea of these arrows being quite long, because when you have all these, there's about 8 of them in the end sticking out from Swan, it looks pretty painful. And so we kept a certain length to them because it just looked really uncomfortable. And then you'll notice we actually have a thread of spirit running right through the core of the stilling arrows themselves, and they kind of pulse with 1 power. You can see if you play the shot. This kind of, there was a kind of a mixture here where it was something that was very real at the end of the arrow, and it kind of then fades into something that's more ethereal as it then gets closer to the body and into the body. So you've got these sort of 2 different feelings to the arrow itself, where it's very real at the end and then goes quite ethereal and spirit-like as it then enters into her body, rather than it being something physically hard that's going through her body itself.
Yeah, it's like you said, I don't think I realized when you said the number of shots that basically it was episode 1, then it sounds like episode 8 and then episode 4 were kind of the 3 top.
Well, it's usually right. It's you have your first episode, your arc in the middle, and then your ending. It's usually 1, 4, 7, and 8 that are the largest.
Yeah.
An 8-episode series, right?
Yeah.
There's one other thing. Innkeeper, did you have a question? I was
the only one. The Mogedian, Samael, that all of that. What is what there? How much of that is VFX? How much?
That's a great question. Real? Yeah, that's a great shot to revisit.
I mean, I think the initial part of it seems like blood coming out. That seems. VFX, but the end of it, I was wondering what that looked like.
Obviously, the build up to this channeling and the veins start being pulled out of somehow. That's all CG. This stuff here, where we get to see him hung up, almost like Hellraiser style, in the horror connotations here, this is all practical. Again, I think Nick Duffman's team did this one. This looked cool on set, very creepy.
It's totally creepy.
Very web-like what she's done with his veins, very deliberate because it's McGideon and the spider and all those suggestions. So I think that kind of harks back to some maybe the 80s era with horror films, I think, which is probably why I like it more than anything. That was all practical, and as I say, it looked really great, just as good on set in real life as it did on camera.
Innkeeper, do you want to get these shots? There was one thing that I wanted to compare, Andy. There was a shot of Mogedion running her fingers through the dirt.
In episode 1?
Episode 1, and this is at 1:01:05. So let me see if I can
Do you
jump
need-
there. But if you could
do
get a
you need-
screenshot of it, because it might
Oh,
be
okay.
easier. Like I can't zoom in other than what's on the
Right.
screen.
Yeah.
So 10105, like it is like one of the creepiest. Like it's for the ending of an episode. It's probably man. It's so hard. I have to go back and watch all the endings. But I think this is the part I'm talking about here. So. And Moghedien's kind of like drawing in the sand.
So this is, I mean, if we go back to the start of this shot, I think the line delivered just before this is Rand saying we're going to go to the Isle Waste. So we came to this scene with Moghedien's close-up look at her hands with the sand, and Rafe was asking, I'd really like it to make the sand on the floor feel like we're looking at the Isle desert. So it's almost like an illusion, a trick of the eye to the audience, that when we initially cut to that shot, it feels like we're looking over these vast sand dunes over the Isle Waste. So we played with that idea. And if you look at the start of the shot, using that idea, there's a certain detail in the center of the screen where there's some shaping we've done to it, where we've actually built in the golden bowl of Al-Qaeda is actually what sits in the center of the frame as Moghedien runs her fingers around it. So you see there, right center frame, that big divot. That is we've physically recreated, obviously scaled right down, the golden bowl. Where obviously things come to a head at the end of episode 8. That was very deliberate foreshadowing by us to do that. And then we do this kind of, there's the focal adjustment, that tilt shift kind of look, that then hopefully everyone's eyes then adjust and realize that it's miniature as Moghedien then runs her hands through the sand. But
is the shape she's creating supposed to be also somehow the symbol, the shape around it, supposed to be signifying something, or is she just kind of like doing?
No, that was Nea Costa just being her playful self with the character. As far as I'm aware of, there might be something she was doing that was specific there, but no. I mean, for us, it was all about trying to give that foreshadowing, hiding in plain sight, putting the golden bowl center of frame. I was actually wondering if anyone was going to pick up on it, but no one had as of yet.
I see. I mean, some people are. I thought so. Rant says I totally picked up on that. So we'll have to. Well, I'll ask anybody out here. Let's see. Did you
Be
notice?
Be honest.
Yeah. Did you notice that Easter egg before Andy mentioned it? Yes or no? I'm kind of curious. There was another one where it was in episode 1. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know if you want to tell us about this one. It has to do, I think, with the episode 8 Egwene point of view shot at Rand and Stormcloud. So let me go to the episode 8 1. Let me get there, and then we'll just see the episode 8 103:35. Let's see, everybody. 103. We'll watch this moment. We'll listen to it also. Here you go.
My favourite Rand shot is actually the one of his hands with his hand going around it. But here we go. So this shot of Egwene looking up at the sky, one of our very few moments that actually we've been able to do in the show, where we've shown a POV from a character. So obviously this case is a woman, being Egwene, can't see what Rand's channeling, which is why we get to see the weaves going up to the clouds. But with Egwene's POV, all she sees is the cloud, no channeling going up there, no corruption.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was again. I don't know how subtle. Well, I think everyone was too devastated about Swan by this point to realise. But that's something very deliberate, because I've always trying to look for opportunities to do that. It would certainly make a very cheap show for us if we could do that, like the POV from a certain perspective. But that was one of our proper moments where we can show a POV from a character who then can't see the opposite sex's channeling. And I'm really pleased we got to put it in there. I did have an idea that actually we should have 2 versions of each episode, one with male channeling only and one with female channeling only, and then you pick which one you want to watch.
That's a little interesting, right? Because we can see this, right?
Yeah, that's a lot.
We can see this, and that's when you start looking at it, and as a viewer, which does kind of give you the Rand point of view, right? As a reader, you're like, oh, Rand's kind of describing what he's sensing with the corruption. And as a viewer, you're seeing that too, but other people aren't be able to sense that, right? They can't sense what Rand's feeling, and the people there are not seeing what Rand's seeing or what we're seeing as viewers. So I like how you were able to connect. Like, we're able to kind of sense it, just like in the books, we're able to read about what he's talking about. But people outside of that, they're more afraid of, like, he's doing something, but they can't see what he's doing until it becomes something. So, yeah, I think it's
a really interesting concept to do with the magic system of Wheel of Time, is the fact that, you know, women can see each other channel, can't see a male channel, and then vice versa. I think it's something I'd really love.
That was one of the things that was most perplexing to me when we started on the show. I couldn't grasp this idea. I was like, well, how are we supposed to show this?
Yeah, I like, as the viewer, that sometimes we see it and sometimes we don't. Like, that's I like that a lot.
That storm POV for McWayne, I feel like I just watched it for the first time now. That there's no channeling, there's no weaves, there's no siding, there is just the storm, and it's like, you know, it's weaved in there really well. Did you see the tooth that I sent you?
No, so let me go look.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is the shot. If you didn't see this as well before, this is the. We're gonna go and get a shot of the bowl, and we're gonna, like, compare, just expand this blob until, you know.
I think the next one is the bowl.
Is the next one the bowl? Oh, okay.
Well, with, like, people and stuff, but
yeah.
I think.
Oh, you're saying you already got the shot that
yeah,
that we're talking about. Sorry.
I think these are the two.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I got the zoom out here.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Now you can see it.
That's a lot of Aiel.
Yeah, this actually, again, one of my favorite shots is that last shot, the golden bowl, the Isle crowds, and technically there are 60,000, I think, there, or 70,000 maybe.
Yeah, I think we had like 70, 60, 70.
Right. So it's like 30,000 leave, something like that. So if you want to sit there and count them, you should find there's about 65,000 there. You know, and then I'd love the channeling, the male corruption coming up there, forming into the cloud, and the cloud starts to cover the frame by the end of the shot. It's one of my favorite ones. I actually thought the moment would go down a lot bigger with the audience, but I still think everyone was too devastated with Storm at this point. I mean, it kind of went nuts, like unnoticed. I was sort of, no one noticed the cool male channeling and the cloud forming.
It's what happened, you know, I think anytime, right? Like, you have something, a loss like that, like, you're always going to miss, like, hey, look at this cool thing, right? You're in the midst of like experiencing that moment in the show, and you're like, oh yeah. I mean, I remember going back in episode 7 and having the same experience. As I went back and watched it a number of times, I was like, oh, I never saw that, or I didn't notice this piece from it. So similarly, but a beautiful shot, like, really beautiful shot.
If Tom had died after Balefire, no one would have liked the Balefire like as much as they do now. It's like it's the you know, how you remember that scene, and how, like, I think like that's what I'm saying.
If you had killed Tom with Balefire, then people would have been like, I hate your purple Balefire. That's the response that would have been. That's true. There does seem to be some audio design too. People are like wondering voices. There is one shot which I'm assuming you have, from an effects standpoint, had, but does anyone remember the timestamp of when it seems like Rand is seeing Luz Theron?
Off in the distance, 41, he's at the top of a dune.
Yes,
4103, I think.
4103. Okay, everybody.
Or like 40,
I'm assuming everybody saw this.
4123.
4123. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Off to Rand's left, right, as he's looking, there's this figure right here, and I saw that Rantal Moore said that Rafe implied it was Luz Theron, would you like to confirm or deny said rumors?
I will support Rafe's comment there.
You'll support
Watch
Rafe?
and see.
Watch and see. Okay,
Nice.
that's what we hope.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping is we get to watch and see sometime. We need a season 4. That's what we need. Yeah, that there's these little pieces that you're just like, oh yeah, there's this one, there's Mini Moses. It's still wild that you guys. Is this something you like? I know, Andy, you had read, while looking for things. Did you guys know what this was? Like, did you understand the eelfin? Brian, did you like? Are you like?
No.
You didn't? Yeah.
To be fair, no.
It was, yeah, I thought it was fairly clear from how it's written in the books. This was sort of close to what I imagined when I read about it. Obviously have the Ilfin as well, and what would they look like? But
yeah,
no, I just love just because Nick Dublin did it. I thought it looked amazing.
And the costumes on that were just amazing too. Like, such a beautiful imagery.
Yeah, it's by the way, everyone, this is what we do around here. We call it clowning, and so when you guys said watch and see, when you said watch and see, Brian, this was what Light Blinded Fool said. Watch and see, season 4 confirmed.
If you keep watching through to see all 800 or 2,043 visual effects shots, keep watching them, find all of them. Maybe we'll get a season 4. Yeah,
that's right. Keep going. Just do the click, pause, watch, pause. Like
if you can find all 2,043.
That's how many named characters there are in the Wheel of Time. It's like...
There are more named characters than there are CGI shots there.
Yeah.
Yes, that's. Oh, was that they did wonder on Matt's neck a CGI thing, or is that practical makeup?
Matt's neck
after he comes out when he's hanging and he falls, like he comes down, you can see that like he has that kind of scarring on his neck.
The muff. No, that's just all makeup. Nothing to do.
It's
with
all makeup
on that one. Yeah. The kind of bruising where the rope's been. That was all done by Davina and her team.
Yeah,
nice.
It's convincing for sure. Innkeeper, was there something else you wanted to focus on?
Yeah, I was just going through the
Waygates.
I feel like the what?
The Waygates were pretty cool.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah. People have been asking about the Waygates. I was just going through episode 8 again, and I'm like, did we miss anything? And I don't think so.
We didn't talk about the Waygates last time, and
I mean there is the Lanfear when she goes angry in the dream and her face contorts.
That's kind of, it turns into the same kind of thing. Oh, the face contorting. That was
the Agent Smith field.
That was a really cool shot, actually. Okay, so we will go back. Maybe we'll make that one of our last here, so Andy can get some sleep, everybody. But we have to watch this effect. This was one of my favorite from early on in the season. We really just wanted you guys to do. Really wanted the show to like really buy into that.
It's something we've kind of, I think redesigned isn't quite the right word to say. This is something discussed with Ray. When they're using the truthful, like it might be nice for the Waygates to appear and open as they're meant to be. And previously, I think season 1, season 2, it's been channeled open. So we like to do. There's 2 ways of doing it. You kind of rip it open via channeling, or there's the truthful leaf way of doing it, which is the more elegant gear way of doing it. And so again, going back to the books, what I remember is branches growing, I think, and then them moving as well gently, like there's a light breeze. So we kept that particular aspect in the design. The mirror aspect of it, this reflective surface, we actually steered away from because there's certain time-consuming results of that if you were to shoot it with, needing another camera to film the reflection of your of the cast in the Waygate. So we went for something that's more of a kind of these physical gates that appeared, and then leaning heavily into this idea of them being made of branches of the Ventus.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where all that idea came from. If you look very carefully, you'll notice that the branches in the gates actually do move very, very gently, like there's a gentle breeze. It's kind of noticeable more on the leaves.
We spent a lot of time on this, though.
Oh yeah, you can see the leaves. Yeah.
And this was a cool effect as well. The vines that recede when the trefoil leaf is removed from the stone relief.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, I was like, oh, is that the new look? And they didn't always be there. And then I was like, no, they went away. And I was like, okay, that works really well for how to keep it consistent with prior seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, there's a consistency there that I really did appreciate. Yeah, the Waygates, honestly, one of my favorite parts. Like just changes in the kind of visual effects of the show. So thank you. Like seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I wanted Waygates to be cooler than they were. And you made them cooler.
I mean, I never realized they were going to put them in the bottom corner. I think of one of the posters. Was it L'Oreal's poster? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Promotion of the show, and then
we found it.
guys were on it really quickly.
We were laughing just how much like
This is the thing.
Waygates were like so much more about their. We had no idea that Waygates were going to become a thing, other than it was a cool mechanism of the show, and then it became like. It was like the back shot for like, wasn't that in the first season? Like on all of the posters and things like Waygates. That was, I didn't anticipate.
I mean,
that was
I have like the, like it's the actual Waygate in the poster that I have in the back.
It's right there.
What I like is the one in season 2, like when it's physically out there in the water. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. The season 2 one was cool. But this is the last shot, maybe. So we, like I said, let Andy get to sleep. This one was like, again, like, was this just told like we need to show her like freaking out, like just like breaking, or who came up with this idea to kind of give us this, almost Agent Smith Matrix, moment where she's changing, if you will, this like she's this transformation of Lanfear.
Partly scripts and partly, I think, an idea that came from Kieran Donnelly, the director. If I remember right, in the script it said something about this the most demonic we've seen Lanfear ever, or something like that, as she kind of freaks out at Rand. So we were looking at ways of doing it. Now it helps massively by Natasha's performance, where she goes wild. We've got the true power in there swirling around, looking all kind of sinister and crazy. And then this sort of 3-headed idea, I'm pretty sure that was something that Kieran came up with. And so Natasha did one performance looking towards camera, and then she did sort of 2 other performances looking either way, doing the same sort of thing. And then we used the head when she does the scream and just blended it all together, basically give something quite trippy. Again, quite those horror suggestions to it. So they felt very demonic, and with them being in Telleramiad, everything can be a bit trippy and weird. You have that license.
You do. Yeah, no, it was a very cool effect that I had to create one of these images because, like I said, like Lanfear's my favorite character, so I had to. It made for the right way of introducing this version of Lanfear to the world. So I thought that like the whole scenario, the whole kind of moment is like
rosy and bright.
Yeah, she's like so happy, and then she like she goes full. She's full bat.
I mean,
I just love how that's a bat right there. It's so good.
Post breakup, yeah.
The evolution sometimes of relationships, or maybe just Lanfear's relationships. One last note: people brought this one up, and I'd be remiss just commenting on the excellent work you guys were doing on this. These gateways. Were they purposely? Are these weaves? I see that one, and then let's see the one Samael does. Yeah, so their own design basically. Each of them has their own kind of similar, but their own that we're seeing, but they're not.
Yeah, they're. I think actually the weave might be similar for both of them, just because of the angles we're at there. With profile with Lanfear, you see that kind of more stacked look to the weave, and then with Samael more front on, so you see more of the triangular shape. But yeah, we wanted something that worked with the finger gesture here, and that's something that Rafe wanted. And then as I've mentioned earlier, that sort of geometric sci-fi look to their weaves. So we went for this kind of triangular shape. Is sort of our creative decision before that. And then the Waygates themselves, Waygates, too many gates. The gateways themselves, that was, if I remember rightly, I think it's more of a rectangular doorway, isn't it, in the books? If I remember it correctly, which
on the gateway,
yeah, it's like a slit that opens up. Yeah.
And for me, do you know what it reminded me of? If again, anyone who sort of grew up in the 80s and 90s, Quantum Leap gave me those visions. I was like, I can't do Quantum Leap. I love Quantum Leap, so I can't do that. So I really like this idea of it almost being like a kind of a wormhole or a black hole or something. So this idea of I'm sure I read something about it, almost like this tearing happening. And so I thought that was really interesting. I like the idea of it sort of tearing open. And there's a little bit of a depth we've given to the gateway as well. Instead of just being this kind of flat 2D sort of portal in a way. So sort of tearing at the fabric of the pattern to rip open to allow them to travel from one place to the other. That was our main decision from that. And, you know, there's a certain stretched tearedness structure to it that I think, you know, if for some reason that thing had to move and twirl for some reason, I think that would work quite well. But
yeah,
that's for later on.
I like that you're trying to avoid Quantum Leap in that. Well, Innkeeper, did you have any final question? Because we need to get Andy out of here and these gentlemen on for their day.
No, I just want to see what people have said on this poll that you.
Did you notice the Easter egg? 17%, Andy. 17% said they noticed that Easter egg about the bowl.
Golden Bowl.
The Golden Bowl. 17. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. Do you believe 17% saw it?
No, I think we should do another poll of how many of that 17% are actually telling the truth.
No, thank you both for being here, Brian, Andy. It's awesome. It's awesome and thank you for sharing those shots. The one that's gonna stick with me is Jeannie's. That one is that's a ridiculous shot of it's such a cool concept to see and actually bring to life. So thank you for all the work that you've been doing these last 2 seasons. I do hope if you're out there and you're like, hey, at least I saw this today. I'm assuming this is. I'm like,
everybody needs to go back and find all 2,043 visual shots across all 8 episodes.
I saw this website pop up from fans. Renew the Wheel of Time. That's right. Go sign a petition. renewwatt.com. If you're out there and you're like, hey, I want to lend my voice among fans to renew the show. I know fans are doing a lot of stuff as far as, you know, hashtags are posting and going out and signing that petition and just taking part and being on, you know, I think so far over that petition has been signed by over 5,000 of you. Let's get that to 10,000. If you're watching and you are curious and you'd like to see an episode or a season 4 of this, it never hurts to tell the people that are making the decisions that you'd like to see more. So, and we would like to see more here at the Dusty Wheel. This is so much fun. Who doesn't want to zoom in to more windows and floors and VFX? Come on. And rewatch number 5 beginning soon. Yes, awesome. And I Dream of Jeannie. I love that. Well, thank you very much, you two, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for showing up here. And you can see Innkeeper and I at JordanCon this weekend if you are attending. And by the way, they're looking for the link for that. Arosa, that's just renewwatt.com, and you can post that in chat for those of you watching. So, but again, thank you for the work you guys did. And, hopefully we'll have you back here talking about more Wheel of Time visual effects in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Andy, thank you for just sticking in there, man. It's so early in the morning for you, so we do appreciate it. We understand after doing our live watches for this whole season.
So you've been through it.
Really, really, really a lot of fun. And again, everybody, thank you. And we will communicate on our schedule, but you can assume we'll be back here next Wednesday. Wednesday. Can't wait to see y'all. And with that, as we say around here, good night from the Dusty Wheel and smash to black.
Welcome to the Dusty Wheel.
Hey, welcome back to the Dusty Wheel.
You went right to kill it. Look at you. You're all ready. You're just done. I mean, this is like this is one of the biggest scenes.
And now I'm like, great, my turn.
And if you don't like that, you want to say, well, Robert Jordan could have made the two rivers all white. He could have, but he didn't. So,
Just complimented me on my dress, and as you can clearly see, I'm
sad. I see Nakomi as something along the lines of a Shadar Haran analog.
It does make sense why it outlasted the breaking.
Yeah.
See, this is why I have Therese in the show, because she's going to correct everything that.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Dusty Wheel Show. What? Meme Off Challenge! Yay!
Like baby face mounted on like a huge body. So like
this
all
is
of a
not
sudden,
just
like,
a traditional fantasy, right? There are sci-fi
And
elements.
just a moment ago, Rafe tweeted something. So let me get my guest in here with me, and
probably I would say put in 70-80% of the work. I got to be over the shoulder and be like, no,